Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating program, one that claims to be a journey of self-discovery. We're going to look at its strange origins and the very different ways people try to understand what's actually going on.
All right, let's kick things off with this pretty wild quote from the source material. Tail-whipping reality into seeing new colors. I mean, that's a perfect way to set the stage for what the Gateway Voyage is all about. It's not about passive dreaming. It's about actively changing how you perceive the world around you.
So this is really the big question, isn't it? What if you could actually navigate your own consciousness? The Gateway Voyage is basically a program designed to give you a map, a method, to intentionally go exploring the inner landscape of your own mind.
But, to really get what this is, we first have to understand the who and the how. Because the story of this program, well, it's completely tied up with the story of the guy who created it.
So this whole thing starts with a very unlikely person, Robert Allen Monroe. And get this, he wasn't some mystic or a guru living in a cave. He was a successful radio broadcasting executive, a pretty normal guy. But his life took this massive turn in 1958 when, during some experiments on sound and learning, he had his first out-of-body experience. And that one event just completely changed everything for him. It set him on this decades-long quest, which led to a huge book and eventually the founding of the Monroe Institute, a place dedicated to studying consciousness itself.
Okay, so this is the core of it all, Monroe's invention, hemisync. It's built on this really cool phenomenon called binaural beats. It's basically a clever audio trick. You play one sound frequency in your left ear and a slightly different one in your right ear. Your brain can't quite figure it out, so it creates a third, kind of phantom beat. And the whole idea is that this phantom rhythm can gently guide your brain waves into specific states, like the ones for deep relaxation or sharp focus or even those dreamy states right before you fall asleep.
Now here's where it gets really, really interesting. Because while all this tech feels super modern, headphones and sound labs, the ideas behind it actually echoes something way, way older. So we're going to jump from a mid-century American lab to ancient yogic texts. It's a bit of a leap, but stick with me.
Okay, I know this slide might look a little intense with all these ancient terms. Don't worry about memorizing them. These are the Shatkarma, the 6 purification rites from Hatha Yoga. The key thing to understand here is that these aren't just physical exercises. Think of them as essential prep work, like cleaning house to get the body's channels clear and ready for some deeper energy work.
So why do all this purifying? Well, these ancient practices, they're all about clearing the way for prana, which yogis call the life force energy to flow freely through the body. The ultimate goal? To awaken a higher state of consciousness. It's a whole system of preparing for an incredible internal journey.
All right, now let's do a hard pivot. We're going to look at this from a completely different perspective and see how modern science tries to explain these same kinds of phenomena. We're basically shifting from the world of prana to the world of brainwaves. The modern scientific term for what Monroe was digging into is brainwave entrainment. It's this natural tendency for our brain's own electrical rhythms to, lock on to outside rhythms. Think about it. You know how you can't help but tap your foot to a good beat? It's kind of like that, but this is happening on a neural level, with your brain cells syncing up to the sound.
But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. When you actually look for the hard scientific proof, the picture gets pretty messy. The verdict is definitely still out. Reviews of brainwave studies show totally mixed results. Some find evidence for it, a lot of them don't. And even though tons of people report amazing personal benefits, that robust clinical evidence is just, it's still elusive, except for some promising little bits of research on things like acute pain and memory.
And this slide, this really gets to the heart of the matter. On one side, you've got this mountain of personal stories, people saying it changed their lives, reduced their anxiety, boosted their creativity. But on the other side, you have the scientific community kind of shrugging its shoulders and saying, look, the rigorous proof just isn't there yet. It's this incredible gap between what people feel and what we can measure.
So what we've got are 2 totally different ways of explaining things. One is ancient and mystical, all about life force energy. The other is modern and skeptical, all about brainwaves. So the question is, how do these 2 different viewpoints map onto the actual gateway experience?
Okay, this table right here, this is the heart of our whole explainer. So let's take a second with it. It basically maps specific gateway exercises onto these 2 different worldviews. So look at that first row, the energy bar exercise. From the Hatha Yoga perspective, you could say this is about focusing prana into the body's central channel. From a neuroscience angle, it's seen as using sound to get your brain into alpha and theta waves, which we know are linked to deep relaxation.
Pretty cool, right? Now look at liftoff. The yoga view might see this as Kundalini energy, this powerful coiled-up force rising through the body's energy centers, the chakras. But neuroscience might explain that same feeling as certain attention networks in your brain firing up while others get quiet. And you see this pattern over and over. An exercise for problem solving? You could call that stabilizing the mind in samadhi, a state of meditative union. Or you could say the brain is producing enhanced P300 waves, which are electrical signals linked to paying close attention. It's two completely different languages, one of energy and one of electricity, trying to describe the exact same human experience.
So, after looking at this fascinating comparison between ancient practices and modern audio tech, what's the big takeaway? What are we supposed to make of all this?
Well, maybe the real power here isn't just in the sound itself. It might be in the combination of a specific frequency, a focused intention, and that sense of ritual. And if you think about it, that's a formula used by both ancient yogis getting ready for meditation and modern explorers putting on headphones to navigate their own minds. It seems like it's the fusion of the tool with the user's intent that actually creates the magic.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thought to chew on. Whether you call it prana or you call it brainwave entrainment, what all this exploration suggests is that the line between what we hear with our ears and the very fabric of our consciousness, well, that line might be a lot more blurry and a lot more interactive than any of us ever imagined.